E Robert, você trabalhou com atores como Brooke Shields, Michelle Pfeiffer, Jane Fonda, Sean Penn e Jeff Goldblum. Como que é essa experiência? Os atores ligam para você falando, preciso de ajuda para montar tal personagem? Como que acontece isso?
Working with actors, for me, I think for most actors who work professionally, it's not so important how famous or not famous the other actor is. I know fantastically great actors that are not famous at all. I know actors like Sean Penn, Jeff Goldblum, as you mentioned, Michelle Pfeiffer, that are great, terrific actors, and are famous. Yes, when you work with one of those people, you tell your friends and your family, and it's like, yeah, you're great, you're working with that person. But in the actual work, it's just like working with any actor. It really is. And it's not about how big a star they are. None of them. It's about really trying to get the scene to work and the characters to work. Yeah, I mean, that's all over the world, that's a problem for actors. I mean, I think it was less of a problem for me and my generation when it's not that I'm that old, but when I started out, because the theater was much more respected in the film world. Most actors really came from the theater. I was always doing plays. I think every single play I did, whether in a big theater or even a small theater, a director or producer would come see it, to see all the actors, really. It was even more true the generation before mine. They really were doing theater in the evening and working in films during the day and TV and so forth. There was a lot of work for the generation before mine, but mine still had a lot of that. And now I understand from young actors that it's very difficult. It's more based on just how you look or who you know or whose son or daughter you are.
Yeah.
And it's not so, or if you were on a reality show, it's not so much about all the training, hard training you did and the theater work you do and all of this sort of thing, where the directors and producers really go looking for talent, at least in America. I don't know, in Brazil, maybe it's a little different. As far as how I get work, yeah, that's the basic way. I mean, I didn't really fit into a type casting. I played a lot of foreigners because they didn't think I looked particularly American, whatever that is, the sort of Tom Cruise look. I played a lot of British rock stars because for some reason they thought I looked like that in my 20s, 30s. I played a lot of crazy people. I don't know why. But I played a lot of straight parts too, and always in Hollywood, killers or criminals, because that's what a male actor does, young male actor does in Hollywood, is you play people killing or getting killed. It was more the relationships I had with directors and producers who liked my work, as opposed to going to an audition with a lot of people going to the audition where they'd look at me and say, well, he doesn't fit this type or that type. Sometimes I could convince them otherwise, but usually they're looking for cookie cutter, if you know what I mean, a cliche sort of look. But I just think the actor has to make it, whatever connections you have to use. And it may take a while, but if you're really serious about acting, there will be directors and producers and writers and so forth, studio people who like your work. And they'll even start writing parts for you, which is really nice when that happens, as long as it's well written.
Robert, como você vê o emprego dos atores não profissionais nas telas?
That's a really current question. I think it depends on the project. I'll be really honest.
Yeah.
Very, very few films made with non-actors work. Very few. However, the ones that do are very big, sexy films and very radical films. City of God, for instance, which has a lot of actually they weren't so much non-actors, because my understanding is that Fátima Toledo worked with them for almost a year. So are they really not professional actors at that point? I mean, yes, you should do 2 years at least before you go into the profession, but still they had some training.
Yeah.
And they were training not to do characters so far away from them. They were doing people they saw on the streets. And they were trained by, so I'm not so sure they're non-actors. You know, what happens is that directors go to film school, right?
Right.
In film school, they see a film called Bicycle Thieves by Vittorio De Sica, which was one of the big films of the Italian neo-realism movement. But he was also a great director, and he had a great idea because nobody had any money at that time. It was right after World War II. He said, well, I'm going to get like this factory worker. He has almost no lines. He wanders around the city looking for the guy who stole his bicycle with his little kid. And he found a guy with a very expressive face out of a factory. And the guy was great, but De Sica, very clever director, you know, directed him. The results were wonderful. But then, this same guy, now because he became a star, my understanding is he did 2 more movies in Italy. He wasn't trained as an actor. And without Vittorio De Sica and the concept of Bicycle Thieves, which was such a wonderful concept, this guy couldn't act at all. He was terrible in the movies he did. He killed himself.
Whoa.
He committed suicide because he was so humiliated. So if you can really work with a non-actor, sometimes fine. Most of the time it's these directors that see Bicycle Thieves in film school, or they see Peixoto, or they see, you know, they make films and they're terrible because you need professional actors from 99% of the projects. You need professional doctors. You need professional lawyers and architects. Otherwise the building falls down. You need professional actors or your film will fall down. You know, a lot of these directors are afraid of professional actors. They think they're going to take the film away from them. They want control, and they think professional actors take away their control. This is ridiculous. It's a collaboration. Film is always a collaboration.
Então, Robert, infelizmente a gente tem que encerrar o bloco. Muito obrigada, Gustavo, por ter ajudado a gente. Você quer deixar algum recado?
Yeah, I think working with Brazilian actors is really interesting. I find them quite different than actors anywhere else in the world. Very passionate. The other thing I love about Brazilian actors is they move very well. They're very physical, which is the first requirement of a good actor. And I just think it's very, very exciting working here. I really like it.
Então, você